Hello YouTube and fellow preppers, I am Geordie Prepper, and I did a previous video about discharging batteries and conditioning them and getting them used to the battery chargers that you use them in. That's using the functions of the battery chargers to condition and then using the batteries in the equipment that you've got so that you can see how they behave and how long they last in your equipment. This video is about charging batteries. And it's basically just some considerations which I think everyone needs to be aware of. Most people obviously, they'll just use either the batteries that you can just purchase in the shops, the one-off non-rechargeable kind. And this is good, but it's a bit of a waste really when good chargeable batteries or rechargeable batteries are in the long run cheaper to use. They offer much higher performance than batteries that you just use once. Now, if you're going to spend a lot of money on batteries, you obviously need to spend the money on the chargers themselves because they'll offer you functionality and capabilities, and they'll do your batteries much better justice. I mean, if you're going to spend a lot of money on Eneloops, then you really don't want to be using a cheap and nasty charger because it just won't give you the performance that you can get out of these batteries. So when you're considering getting equipment and you're into preparedness and you have equipment that uses batteries, the number one priority that you need to think about is what type of batteries are you going to use. Are you going to use AA's? Are you going to use AAA's? Or are you going to use 18650 or any other really type of battery really, RCR 123s for example? For me, I use AA's, AAA's and 18650s. These are the only three types of batteries I used, and I decided early on in my preparedness that these are the batteries that I was going to use. And then I obviously had to build my preps and my equipment around this. So it's very important to choose the type of batteries that you want to use first. Look into the batteries which are generally considered the best. So basically for my research, I decided that I was going to use Eneloops and variations of Eneloop batteries. These are the standard ones. I also have the XX types. And then I was going to use 18650s, and obviously I chose the best type of 18650 to use. That isn't it, by the way, that's just a battery that I got with the Loftech torch here, and that's something I'll come to later in the video. So you've decided what type of batteries that you're going to use, and you've based the equipment around it that you're going to use them in. So for me, with AA batteries, I bought a through night torches, and I've also bought some Phoenixes which use AA's and which use 18650s. I have a couple of other torches which can also use AA's, but those torches aren't the mainstay of my illumination preps. Now, once I'd decided which batteries that I wanted to use, I had to get suitable chargers. And once you know what batteries you want to use, you then need to move on to the types of chargers that you're going to use. I'll run through the ones that I've got and I'll run through the benefits. I won't go through the entire operation of these equipment because that's for future videos. This is just purely about considerations that you should be thinking about, or that I would suggest that you should be thinking about when getting into preparedness. So the first types of batteries that I actually got was AA's and AAA's. Obviously I needed a charger to charge them in. I got this Sanyo nickel metal hydride battery charger. That's also the thing that you need to consider is, apart from the size, is what type of batteries are you going to get. Nickel cadmium, nickel metal hydride, 18650s, they're lithium ion. And obviously you need a charger which can charge not only the size of batteries but the type that you're getting. So this was the first charger that I got, and basically it's just for doing AAA's and AA's. and you can put them in the same unit. You can charge 2 at a time, or you can charge 4 at a time in this charger. Now the one thing I would say is when you get a battery charger, read all the material that comes with it, and also just use the charger itself for a little bit. Get to learn, how long it takes for the batteries to charge. This, I think, has a cycle time of between 12 and 14 hours, and that's how long it would take to charge AA's and AAA's in the charger. The good thing about this Sanyo charger is that if you look on the back, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see exactly. Anyways, I'll just read it. Make sure that you read the back of the charger as well, because it can give you some hints and tips which aren't really in the manuals. And if we look at the back of this one, it says output 250 milliamp hours times 2 AA's. So that means that if you put 2 AA batteries into this unit in either the 1 and 2 slot positions or 3 and 4, then 2 batteries of AA size are going to charge in this at 250 milliamp hours, and they're going to charge in this as 250 milliamp hours. And the good thing about this Sanyo charger is that they obviously know that charging at a low milliamp hour rate is very good for nickel metal hydride batteries. So this is a really good way of charging the cells at a low milliamp hours. And if you're charging AAA's, it charges them at 120 milliamp hours, which is actually lower than what the BL700 charges at, because the lowest that can go is 200 milliamp hours. So when you're looking at your chargers and you're considering which ones to get, when you get them, also just make sure that you know how to operate them properly and choose what cells are going to charge best in these, because for the best AAA charging I would use this because it charges at the lowest rate. Now I had this battery charger for a long time, and as you can see there's minimal feedback. There's just 2 green LEDs, and what happens is at the end of the charge cycle they just go out. It doesn't give you any sort of feedback at all. When I considered which charger I was going to get next, I wanted something which could also charge 18650 batteries and could also charge the current batteries that I had, which were AA's and AAA's. And I wanted a charger which could give us a bit more feedback on the charging process. And that's when I got the IntelliCharger i4. This is a good charger. It has spring-loaded slots here, and it gives you a bit more feedback due to LEDs here which show you the progress of the charge. And obviously it still has 4 slots like the previous charger, and it also should be able to charge from a cigarette lighter in a vehicle, although I haven't tested it. It didn't come with a cigarette lighter, but if if you have the gear, then you should be able to match the voltage and able to use this on the move. Now obviously if you look at the back here, it shows you what it's compatible with: 18650, 17670s, 18490s, 17500s, RCR123s, etc, etc. And that's for lithium ion. And then for nickel metal hydride, it's compatible with AA's and AAA's and C-type batteries. So this charger is able to deal with all of the batteries that I use, and it's able to charge them in a good way. But like I said, when you get a charger, just look at the information, because it gives you some good clues to be able to get the best out of this charger, and therefore able to get the best out of your batteries. Because if you look out here on the output, 4.2 volts, that's the maximum that it'll charge 18650 lithium ions to, and it'll charge AA's and AAA's to 1.48 volts. If you use all 4 slots, it'll charge the batteries at 375 milliamp hours. But if you only use 2 slots, it charges those 2 slots at 750 milliamp hours, which is obviously a lot higher. So when you're using this battery charger, AA batteries, AA cells, they will work fine in either just putting 1 battery in, or putting 2 in, or 4. However, if you put AAA cells in, then you can't put a single AAA cell into 1 slot and then charge it, because a AAA cell charging at 750 milliamp hours is actually quite dangerous. So that's quite a high rate to charge a AAA at. So if you want to get the best out of this battery charger, you have to fill all 4 slots and then charge the cells. This might not be, the best thing that you can do, because you simply might not have 4 cells that have discharged. What you can do is, if you're charging AAA's, is you put a AAA in slot 1 and you put a AAA in slot 3, and then that splits the 750 milliamp hour load over 2 cells, and instead of 1, which is a lot safer. Now, charging batteries at 375 milliamp hours across 4 slots was something that was better for 18650s, but I needed something with more flexibility, and this is a really good charger, but you just have to get to know it, and you have to use it based on the information that it gives you. I don't really want to recharge 4 cells at a time, and I also at this point wanted something which would give me even more information about the batteries that I was recharging. So I looked at a lot of reviews, and I ended up getting the Technoline BL700, and this just charges AA's and AAA's, but it gives you a lot more information. You can look at the voltage. If you're discharging or charging the cells, it'll show you the milliamp hours. It has various functions so that you can discharge the batteries. You can rejuvenate old cells if they're not giving you a very good charge, or if their charge isn't lasting a very long time. You can do all sorts of this. It'll show you how long they've been charging. It's got temperature detection. It'll reverse polarity protection. It's got all sorts. It's such a good charger, this, it really is. The best thing about this one is the recharging rate. So it can recharge at 200 milliamp hours, which is a lot less charging than what these two can do, and that's what I was after, charging the batteries as slow as I could. And it gives you information on the back here. It's for nickel cadmium batteries as well as nickel metal hydride. So if I wanted to get some nickel cadmium cells, I could. And it supports AAA's and AA's from 300 to 3000 milliamp hours. So this charger was taking my charging techniques even further, and I was getting better performance out of the batteries that were charged in it, and it just gave me a lot more functionality and the ability to just discharge batteries in the unit itself, whereas previously I was discharging the batteries just simply by putting them in the torches and discharging them, which wasn't ideal because it reduces the lifespan of the torch, and then it reduces the operation of it when I need it. Obviously, LED torches these days last a very long time, but still, these are all hours that are getting spent discharging, which could be better done in a unit such as this. The other good thing about this one is that you can do different functions on each channel. So this really took the performance on my batteries further, and it gave me the information that I needed. There was just one problem with that though. It was only for AA's and AAA cells. I needed something better for 18650 cells. So when you're considering using 18650 cells, There's some things that you look into the research and the reviews and choose a very good recharger from. And I ended up going with the X-Star VP2. I was going to go with the 4-channel one, but I couldn't find a seller at the time who was selling them. This charger is really, really good for 18650s. It's basically a spring-loaded system like the IntelliCharger i4. And the other good thing about this one is that it's actually a battery bank as well. And you can choose different voltages for it. So you have there the input, and this will run off a car cigarette lighter as well. And you do get the lead for it, which is very good. So this is the most mobile unit that I've got. And obviously you have the output there as to use it as a battery bank, and the different voltages there. Because different size lithium ion batteries, you know, sometimes they have different resting voltages that you can charge them to. So 18650s, it's 3.6 volts when you're using it as a battery bank as to the power in the battery. But the colour LED display is really good. The other reason why I chose this one is because it recharges at very low milliamp hours for a 18650. It charges at the lowest 250 milliamp hours, and then in the middle it's got 500 milliamp hours, and the maximum is 1000 milliamp hours. So when you first get a 18650 battery, or indeed any battery, the first charge that you might want to consider doing after discharging them would be a high milliamp hour charge, and this could be just to break down any crystals inside the battery which may have formed, because you don't know the temperature conditions that it was stored in, etc. So you might just want to charge it at a higher rate just to break down any crystals that are formed inside the batteries. The downside to this charger is, however, that it only does lithium ion cells. And if you look at the back here, it basically gives you the different types of lithium ion batteries, and you also see that it's a CCCV charging system. So that's the other thing to consider when you're getting a battery charger. So different cells need different charging cycles and charging profiles, basically. So what you need to do is, when you're looking into, whichever charger that you're going to get and whatever cells that you're going to use, is to make sure that the charging profile is the best for the type of cells that you use, and that you can recharge them at very low milliamp hours, or have the flexibility to choose between low and high. I have one other charger that I use, and it's for 18650s, because the other consideration that you need is, can you recharge AA's in the field? Can you recharge AAA's in the field? Now I have the Goal Zero system, so I could charge AA's and AAA's fine, but because I use 18650s and none of these are portable enough to use in the field, I had a bit of a problem. It's possible I may be able to get something to use the X-Star with some solar panels. However, I wanted something that I knew would work in the meantime. So one thing that I did get was this Loftech torch, and this pairs up with the Goal Zero system very well, and its only purpose, as well as acting like a torch, is that it can charge 18650 cells in the field. So you can pair this up with the Goal Zero systems, and you can either use them with the Guide 10. You could use the Guide 10 and plug it into here, and it would basically charge a battery. Then you're using batteries to charge batteries, which is a bit of a waste, because then whichever batteries you choose to recharge this, then they're going to be flat. But this torch will actually works very, very, very well with the Goal Zero system. It's not waterproof or anything, so you have to be careful with it, but this will charge 18650 cells in the field. So when you're choosing your equipment, you can pair equipment up with other things. I charge my 18650s just by solar panels a lot of the time, and this is a very good functional item, not only for bugging in because it has a very good tail stand and you can use it as a candle. It also has the functionality that it's built for, obviously, as a torch, but it also recharges 18650 cells in the field. So with just the Goal Zero and this, I can charge all of the cells that I use for all of the equipment that I use. So when you're considering whether you're bugging in or bugging out, one consideration that you need to think about if you're dependent on equipment that uses power and batteries is to make sure that in your bug in location and your bug out location you have the correct equipment to maintain the cells that you're using. The only other thing to do, obviously before stuff hits the fan or roll happens, is to condition the cells, such as your AA's and AAA's and your 18650s, and use them in the equipment that you're going to use in these situations, and get to know them and see how long your AA batteries lasts in the equipment, see how long your AAA's last, see how long your 18650s last, and if the grid is down, could you recharge them? What means have you got to recharge your battery cells in a grid down situation? For me, AA's and AAA's was no question. I could just put them in the Goal Zero system and they would be no problem. But I did have a problem with 18650s, which I fixed with this. So just some considerations to think about, guys. If you're going to spend a lot of money, especially on LO loops, I mean, these cells really are very good, and if you're just going to use them in some cheapy piece of crap charger, you're not only going to damage the batteries, you're just not going to get the performance out of them that you expect. It doesn't matter which cells that you use, NA loops or other types, if you're using the wrong charger with them and it's using the wrong charging profile, then you're going to find that your cells are just going to be dead when you need them. And in a grid down or stuff hits the fan situation, any problems that you have like that are just going to be, they're going to affect you many more times than if everything was normal. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, guys. It's gone on a bit longer than what I thought, but a lot of people use batteries and equipment which use battery cells, and obviously these are the heart of the equipment. The performance of these determines the performance of the equipment that you're going to use and stuff hits the fan. And for many people, there isn't an alternative that they can safely use or that they may want to use, and batteries do form a very important part of a grid down situation or a stuff hits the fan situation. And indeed, these are going to be very valuable. If anything does happen, people are going to need batteries, and they're not only going to need batteries, they're going to need a continuous supply of them or a means to recharge them. So they are an important part of anybody's preps. You may be able to survive in the field, on just using a knife, but some people can't, and batteries are a very important part of your preps. So I hope that there's been something in here which is giving you some thought about your current setup, or if you're just getting into prepping and you're going to use batteries, then I hope there's been some considerations here when I've been talking about the different chargers and the different types of cells, which has been useful to you. If you would like to subscribe, then please do. It would really help the channel, as well as commenting on the videos And thank you very much to all the subscribers already. I really do appreciate you guys, and thank you very much for watching. If you use a battery charger, what do you like about it? What type is it? Is there any sort of functionality in it which you think I might be interested in? Just let me know. So all that's left to say, guys, is be safe and be prepared.